You're here for another Conversations with Kylie, and today I have my lovely friend with me, Mel Wheeler, and I'm just going to jump right in and let Melissa introduce herself. Sorry, I'll probably call you Mel and Melissa.
No, that's okay. That's fine.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited for this. I think our viewers are going to get a lot out of this conversation, and I'm just really chuffed. Okay, so can you introduce yourself? Tell us a bit about you, who you are, and what you do.
Okay, thank you, Kylie. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited about this too. My name's Mel Wheeler, or Melissa, and at the moment I'm a hula hooper. And what else can I say? We met. Can I talk about how we met?
Yeah,
To
of
put
course.
context? So we originally met when I was teaching art classes at Tamworth, and you were in my adults art class, and we've stayed friends ever since. And I've gone on from doing the art, which I still teach, to becoming a hula hooper very unexpectedly.
That's what I thought. I know you as a visual artist, but I'd say you're a performing artist too, really, an entertainer now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
And
it's still visual, but
yeah,
different.
no,
Yeah.
lovely. I think it's very artistic, especially like, watching some of your videos and how you put yourself all together, all the different looks
Yeah.
for some really exciting venues and events and things like that. That's what was thinking, I want to have people on this channel who've inspired me and who I think the viewers, are going to be able to look to as role models and, for inspiration and motivation and just being able to see other people out in the field and say, well, they're doing that, possibly I could do that too. And I found your story so inspirational. So, yes, you were my art teacher. I love those art classes. And you had a lot to do with the art scene out here in Wallandilly. And then
Yes.
you relocated closer into Sydney.
Yeah.
And so your life was undergoing some personal and professional changes. I thought, can you just like unpack that a little bit? Like you said, we think it's almost 10 years of friendship, so over a
Yeah, it's
period.
crazy.
Yeah, so maybe just the highlights, of how
Um,
life has changed since then.
well, actually, it's not a highlight, but it's just something I thought was worth saying. I think when we first met, I might have still been in a pretty bad, maybe violent relationship back then. I'd either
Yeah.
still there or just left.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just thinking after you contacted me, at the time he was saying, no, don't do art classes. You're not good enough to teach the adults anyway. He was saying like all your students are going to be so much better than you. You cannot teach adults art classes. And I wasn't very confident to teach the adults art classes anyway, because I knew pretty much it's true. Like I think all of you probably were more technically skilled than me. But it was still, so good to have done those art classes anyway, despite that. And we're still friends, so long afterwards since. And it was a really good space back at the time to hold.
Yeah, it was definitely a very supportive group. And yeah, to find that out that you did that despite, not having, support from the people, we're closest to, because we know that how important that is. But sometimes we just have to, take the risk
Just
and take the leap and do these things, don't we?
pretty much that's what
Yeah,
my whole career has been about, just
absolutely.
having the audacity to do it.
Terrific, which leads into a very personal question,
Yep.
but which is what this channel is about too. We want to unpack spirituality, metaphysical stuff, mindset, business, all of that, especially for women in business. So, do you have a spiritual belief or practice or focus? And how would you say that has helped you transform your life?
Okay, so the big one was The Artist's Way, reading that book
By Julia
by
Cameron? Yeah,
Julia Cameron. Thank
yeah.
you.
It's a library up here.
Job. So that book actually, I believe I started reading that about the same time that I started my business
Hmm.
ish. And at the time, I was studying art. My children were very young. I had 4 children under about 10 at that time. I think
Yeah.
Kayla might have been 10. Like I had, very young children. And I started reading this book while I was studying art, The Artist's Way. It was a course on living creatively. And I thought, that's going to make me such a better artist, like, and
Yes.
really help with the arts career. And unexpectedly, what it did was kind of started to move away from so much of the art, but I started living more, if that's the
Hmm.
way you would put it. And my arts career took just on a totally different turn. And yeah.
I felt like, yes, new opportunities came up for you. And do you feel like moving into a different place really was more supportive for that? Like,
Um, yeah, I think so. Like I hit a stage when I was living in Tamil where I just didn't want to get any more jobs, like arts jobs. And I was just like,
yeah,
what is wrong with me? Why is there this block? Like something is just saying, no, don't get any more work opportunities out here. And I was like, but I need to work. I need the money. And I was just like, but something just like really would not let me get work out there. And then I started just only looking at work in Sydney, and yeah, it wasn't long after I moved to Sydney.
terrific.
And
So you did the morning pages, didn't you, in the Artist Way book?
yeah, so maybe I should give some background of the Artist Way.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit if you like
Yeah,
just how you used it.
the Artist Way, there was 2 like main points. It was a course of maybe 8 or 12 weeks
Hmm.
where there was some weekly activities every week, and there were 2 essential things of the course. One of them was the morning pages. We had to write 3 pages of just clearing out the clutter in your brain every morning.
Yeah,
So it could have been, you could even write like 3 pages of, I don't even know what to write this morning, which
yes,
usually there was a page of that in my pages.
yeah,
But it just had to be 3 pages in the morning. And you also had to do 1 artist date per week.
that's right.
And an artist date could be just doing anything nice for yourself, which
Mm,
as women especially, I think, we just do not do, especially if you're a woman with kids and a job and
mm,
everything else crazy. I used to feel so guilty doing anything nice for myself.
yeah,
But that was a non-negotiable. And so were the pages. And when I first started, I just thought, oh, look, I mean, I never thought I'd commit to 12 weeks of that.
hmm,
I didn't even think I'd do a week, but I thought, oh, I'll just start on day 1, like just with curiosity, with just an open mind.
yeah,
And then the next day I wrote, and then the next day I wrote, and then the next day I wrote. And you find over time, everything you're starting to write, you do tend to write the same things over and over because they're the same problems or the same
mm,
good things. You start to notice good things in your life as well as bad things, and just like attracts like. And when you're saying, oh, I've got this problem over and over again, eventually you go, oh, do something about it. And it's
oh,
just as simple as that. And you can fix it and get on to the next thing.
terrific. I like that how Julia talks about it. Like, it's just, getting that mental dribble out of the
Mm.
way. And then, she talks about going for her walks and things like that. But yeah, I love the artist dates, and I've still got a few scrapbooks full of morning pages. I didn't ever go back and read mine. Did you ever read yours?
I haven't, but once like I flicked through some of the first ones, and they were actually like mortifying,
Yeah,
how shit my life was back then.
good to reflect on. Well, that's it.
But
You know, when,
I didn't even really know at the
mm,
time. And I mean, I was just like, just couldn't believe that was what my life was then compared to what it is now.
yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's the thing, is that having that safe container to really, like, once you write something, I know it does something in your brain, and, you know, to really get out what is in there, because this is, you know, it's kind of like doing inventory. This is actually the stuff that creates our blocks to creativity and to changing our lives. And whilst we keep it all in our head, it can just do that. It can just keep blocking us. But if we have some sort of process to get it out, which is why I think the Artist Way has been so successful, then, you know, we can start to, like you say, start to be confronted by it and move through it. And the artist dates, they're really great self-care, aren't they?
Mm.
I was thinking when you were talking about that.
Million
Okay.
percent. The other thing,
Yeah, sorry.
sorry, I was going to say something I
You're
forgot.
talking about Kundalini. Yeah.
Oh, yep,
So
Kundalini,
was
but
that
not that.
Kundalini Yoga?
Yeah.
Mm,
But the other thing with what you write down, looking back,
mm-hmm.
I pretty much got everything that I wanted. Like everything I've written down, I've
Yeah.
pretty much manifested. Sometimes it's always come in a way unexpected to what I wanted.
Yes.
So it hasn't been like,
Mm,
you know, I haven't got it the way I've expected, but I've always got it in some form or another, and usually better than what I wanted.
yes, the how. So we leave the how up to the universe.
Yeah.
That's how things unfold. That's amazing too. So you had some of your dreams and goals come out of the morning pages, or like the actual course itself?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. So if people are watching this and, you know, they're sitting there at home thinking, my life is shit, or maybe not so shit, but, you know, I'm not as happy as what I could be. I'm not enjoying life as much as I could, and I'd like to make some changes. Do you have any suggestions for them, you know, as someone who has made these big changes in your life and is now a lot happier? What suggestions would you have for them, or any takeaways?
um, well, I think the writing helps to
Mhm.
just start somewhere. I mean, you hear it all the time, but just be grateful for what you have now, and it's realizing all these great moments that you have. So like every time you walk in the sunshine, or just, you know, simple things like that.
Yeah.
Just it's taking the time to go to, you know, have self-care, but also write down what you want and just write it down every day, and it just happens. It's probably not a very good explanation, but
No, definitely.
it's as simple as that. Like
Mm.
it really is. Some things are shit for a little bit, and it's just going to be like that. But if you just start to write down what you want, and every day just focus on that,
Mhm.
it is like a series of doors opening, and you just start to meet the people, and all these situations just start to happen, and you just when you're writing it, you just become a bit more aware of that, I think.
Yeah.
And you can just go, oh yeah, this great coincidence happened, and just flow with it, go with it.
S Yeah, I like that, sort of getting into the flow, so you become more aware of the synchronicities,
Mm.
like, the things showing up for you. Sorry, I'm, complete ran over. Do you wanna backtrack a bit and tell us a little bit about the Kundalini, that influence on you?
Yeah, so the other big influence was actually from you, Kylie, with the Kundalini.
That
Do you
popped
remember
into
that?
a reading, yeah.
Yeah.
And I only know about Kundalini. I know very little about it, but I know Spirit gave it to me, especially for women, saying, especially for Western women, that we're not very in touch with our energy. And like, I think of Kundalini energy as the snake at the base of the um, root chakra, and how it needs to be released and move through our body.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm pretty sure Spirit just popped that one in there and just said, "You need to go." Did I say, "Did you need to go do Kundalini yoga?"
Yes.
I've never done it. I'm sorry. I've tried it on
I,
YouTube,
I know.
but you
Yeah, I
went and
think
did it. Mm.
you did a reading once, and yeah, you said something about Kundalini, and I'm like,
What?
what? And you're like, oh, it's something to do with a snake. So when you see the snake, you will know. And I'm like, I think I mean, like, I didn't spend time looking for the snake, but I think like the next, you might have dreams of a snake, or there'll be something to do with a snake. And then I think, I kind of kept my eyes out, didn't see a snake, forgot all about it.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to Canley Vale and went to the yoga studio there was, I don't know what that statue's called, but it's the woman with all the snakes coming out of her.
Medusa.
No,
Yeah.
not Medusa.
Not
It's,
Medusa. Different one.
I think it's the dance of something.
All right.
Anyway, I can send you a photo.
And it had snakes.
It had snakes. And so I said to the yoga teacher there, what's the go with all these snakes? And he said, with Kundalini. And he goes, oh, Kundalini Yoga. And so he talked about it a little bit, said he'd never practiced it himself. And so I thought, oh shit, I've just seen the snake. So I went home, Googled Kundalini Yoga. It just so happened that a Kundalini Yoga studio opened that week in Smithfield, which was a 5-minute drive for me. The only other Kundalini studios around are all in like Manly and Bondi and like, over an hour's drive. But this one opened just around the corner from me. And there began my Kundalini practice, which has been going for maybe 6 years now.
That's amazing. And you found her, she was a really good teacher too. Wasn't she a lovely lady?
Yeah, I found the most beautiful teacher, and Kundalini Yoga is pretty hardcore. It's not, you do some weird things. Like I remember the first class.
It's very active yoga.
I often get drunk and act Kundalini yoga poses because they're hilarious. But I mean, the first class we had to like get down and like do an elephant walk for 5 minutes, which was like your hands and your feet on the ground, and you're just walking around keeping your hands and your feet on the ground for 5 minutes, which just, it felt absolutely ridiculous. And it was
the things I get people to do.
Unlike anything I've heard of before. But you can't ever predict what you're going to get with Kundalini Yoga, but a lot of it is mentally and physically challenging, and you just come to the breath. It just teaches you that.
Yeah.
Just like all yoga. And the meditations also were very active. So we used to do these 11-minute meditations. And at first it was like 11 minutes was the longest time in my life. Like you would often have your arms up in the air doing something weird, or chanting. But the power that Kundalini Yoga has given me, it is just incredible. I don't know how else to describe it. It just gives you the gift of time, the gift of knowing anything's possible.
Well, that's worth it. So
it's worth it. Like,
you have to put a link to Kundalini Yoga, the studio, and where you go in the show.
I actually haven't done any Kundalini in the last 6 months. I've been hiding from it a little bit because it's just it's hard work.
This might be your sign. Get back.
It is. I know it is. So worth it.
That's true. And you're talking about breath work too. So
yes. Last year I did this breath work, a workshop. It was called the O2 Awakening, and it's just one of those things. Like in my morning pages, I wrote, "Geez, my life needs a bit of a shake up." And that afternoon, a girlfriend rang and said, "Hey, can you come to this workshop with me tomorrow?" I'm like, "Yeah, no worries." And that ended up being a 2-day, like full-day workshop of doing these breathing exercises. And it was basically breathing in and out deeply, but there's a bit more to it. And then the first workshop consisted of, after a couple of hours of practice, like we were breathing in and out deeply, and there must have been maybe 60 people in the room pre-COVID. And while we were doing these breathing exercises, like just the energy it created, and people were like, there were like men in the room who were like screaming and vomiting, and like yeah, people were just like releasing all this emotion that they hadn't released in years. And yeah, it just goes to show how powerful breathing is, and moving, like so much stagnant energy just gets
Mm.
trapped.
I believe that too, you know, like the basis of meditation is connecting for me, like connecting with my breath. And I remember doing yoga with a lady out here, and she was talking about how we still have the first breath in our bodies, like that we took as babies, and,
Wow.
you know, breathing right down to your lungs and getting in touch with that, you know. And I know it's like when I do energy work and healing, spirit will just start getting me to get people to breathe. So I get people to breathe, you know, into different parts of their bodies and release from there. And we do the big heart breath. And
Yep.
people are so shy to do it. And I'm like, I do it with them. But I'm like, yeah, we're taught to breathe so quietly and so shallowly at the top of our lungs. And I love that. I love chanting and breath work. And the Wim Hof stuff's been big, you know, and he
Well,
does a lot of breath.
I actually haven't done that, but the Kundalini has a lot of breath work,
Mm.
breathing loudly and funny in so many different poses and situations.
Yeah. I have to go
Yeah.
back and have another go. Yeah, I did. I found some videos on YouTube, as she said, because, you know, COVID, we're all doing a lot more stuff on our own.
Yeah.
And I think there's a studio down the coast here, but yeah, I don't know anyone doing it here. But that's
Yeah.
great. I love that story. I love how, and what I see with you a lot is how even if you've had challenges in your life, you just keep saying yes to life and yes to it changing, you know, yes to the possibility of things improving. And I've really seen that for myself and for other people. You know, when we, you know, face great challenges in our life, we tend to, you know, our world shrink. And, you know, when we don't have the support to change for the better, you know, we don't have those people saying to us, you know, you can do this. We have to learn how to open those doors and walk through them ourselves. Um,
Yeah.
and that's how we do end up, you know, inspiring other people to do the same. Because you can't always wait for the perfect conditions, can you?
No, never.
You kind of got to
The
co-create them.
perfect conditions are always now. So you've always just got to just make it happen. And really, a lot of it is just kind of doing things that you like doing, which
Hmm.
sounds a bit selfish, I guess, but it's not really when it comes to it. Like,
No, that's a definite saying yes to life. Yeah.
yeah. And then when
Um,
you say yes to life, it does inspire others to do the same.
Absolutely. I found like I like a lot of your Instagram posts and things like that because you really share very honestly. You know, you're not saying like, "Hey, look at me, my life's perfect now." You're saying, "Hey, I still have my struggles and down days, and this is what I do about it."
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
It's great. Okay, so wrapping up, what are you doing right now, like with your work? Are you offering courses or classes? How can people work with you?
Okay, so at the moment, I've still got kids' art classes in Bankstown.
Hmm.
They've
That's
just
it.
come back post-COVID
Cool. That's at the Art Centre. Is it
at the
called
Art Centre,
Bankstown Art Centre or
Bankstown Art Centre.
Cool?
Working at the PCYC, which is in Cabramatta, which is pretty amazing. Been able to work with the community out there. And I've got hula hoop classes at Cabramatta PCYC,
Hmm.
and also at Nin Yoga in St Mary's. So that's how you can learn to hula hoop with me. And I've also got a really exciting contract with a online circus place called Circo, and been very busy making tutorials for them. So they're an online circus school in your pocket, and that's got all the
Terrific.
all the circus disciplines there.
That's perfect, as you said,
Yeah,
especially for now when we're doing a lot more stuff online.
yeah,
That sounds really exciting. And so with the hula hooping, you teach from kids to adults, don't you?
yeah. From kids to adults, even up to, I think the eldest people in my class have been in their 80s.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I remember the one where you went to, is it your nana's nursing home and did some
Yeah.
hula hooping for them? That was great.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I like to do the nursing home gigs. They bring a lot of joy.
I can imagine. All right. So, how do people get in touch with you?
Um, Probably I'm most active on Instagram
Hmm.
at Mel Wheeler. Oh, there's the dog running past. um, Mel Wheeler on Instagram, or on Facebook is Mel Wheeler Hoop Artistry. That's probably the best way to contact me.
Terrific. No
Yeah.
worries. Oh, well, thank you so much for today. This has been really great. It's been great to touch base with you again and
Thank you,
see your
Kylie.
lovely face. We'll have to catch up in person soon.
Definitely very soon.
We're very overdue for that. All right. No, that's
Yeah.
terrific. And yeah, I will put some links in the comments,
Yeah.
links to the resources, the Artist Way, things like that. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Kylie. Really appreciate it.
Terrific.